If you're paying attention to the political messaging, you're increasingly hearing a rhetoric from the left designed, I think, to stoke fear about what they call Christian nationalism. Now, just this week, Time magazine published an article with the headline, "Three Threats Christian Nationalism Poses to the United States." Now, the intent of this messaging is clear, I think. It's to marginalize for the purpose of discouraging Christian voters from aligning their values with Scripture and boldly standing for truth. Join me now to discuss this is Dr. Mark David Hall. He's the Herbert Hoover Distinguished Professor of Politics at George Fox University. Professor, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you for having me, Tony.
So tell us the origins of this term Christian nationalism. Where did it come from, and why all of a sudden is it just a part of the media's narrative when they talk about Christians that are engaged in the political process?
You know, literally no one was using Christian nationalism as it's used today until about 2006. Beginning in 2006, there was a steady stream of books and articles crying out about the fear of Christian nationalism. This is a horrible, toxic mix of racism, sexism, homophobism, militarism. It's a bunch of Christians who want to bring about a theocracy in America. This tiny stream became a flood, an absolute flood on January 6, 2021, where the New York Times proclaimed Christian nationalists have attacked the U.S. Capitol building. And book after book has come out since then. Almost every one of these books is highly critical of Christian nationalism, and they all make it crystal clear that these are conservative Christians bringing their faith into the public square, and that's illegitimate. They actually go out of their way to praise the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's fine to bring your faith into the public square to advocate for civil rights, but not to advocate for the protection of unborn life or religious liberty or that sort of thing.
Yeah, when I hear them using this term Christian nationalism, just as you said, bringing their faith into the public square, to me that sounds like American history, because faith played a very key role in the shaping of this country.
You know, that's absolutely right. From the Pilgrim settlements and all the colonial settlements, really, to our founding era, America's founders were profoundly influenced by Christian ideas through the abolitionist movement, through the civil rights movement, the Quakers and penal reform, opposition to Native American removal. Christians have been at the forefront of fighting for liberty and equality for all Americans. And it's just I think you're exactly right. It's a scare tactic to try to make it seem illegitimate for Christians to bring their faith into the public square.
You know, I haven't read it, but I've been told by several people that I've made a number of these books as being a Christian nationalist, and so I was reading today this article that was in the Time magazine, and these three threats, these scary things that the Christian nationalists are doing. One, Christian nationalism is anti-democratic. Second, Christian nationalism perpetuates racism. And then third, Christian nationalism approves of political violence. I mean, this sounds more like gaslighting from the left. This is what they're doing. They're the ones that are against the democratic process. They're the ones that are perpetuating racism in our country. They're the ones that gave way to political violence all through the summer of 2020, costing $2 billion worth of damage in our country.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. There's a great deal of truth in that. One of the ironic things, so most of the literature on Christian nationalism is openly polemical. It's written by people who work for organizations like the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Some of the better academic literature, though, you know, they run into a problem. Authors like Samuel Perry and Andrew Whitehead, they attempt to measure Christian nationalism. They argue that 52% of Americans are full or partial supporters of Christian nationalism, but then they have to deal with the awkward fact that 65% of African Americans are Christian nationalists as they measure the phenomenon, and they get a pass. White Christian nationalism is an evil, horrible thing, but it's perfectly fine if you're African American to be a Christian nationalist. I mean, it's just an entirely loaded study, and I think we do well to be very careful of these works on Christian nationalism, and we should be critical of them.
Well, let me just say this. When they talk about racism, our churches have a lot more diversity than their country clubs. And I think when you look at how faith in Jesus Christ brings a nation together and a people together, I actually think that is what they're afraid of, and that is why they're using this as a club to beat Christians who are engaged in the process back away from the voting booth.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think that's absolutely right.
Well, you're going to be joining us at a special event that we're going to do on this. We're going to take this thing head on. We're doing a Pray Vote Stand Town Hall meeting at Cornerstone Chapel in Leesburg, Virginia, on this topic of Christian nationalism. And I want to think you're going to be there, and I appreciate it, Dr. Hall. Give us very quickly why Christians need to be engaged.
Well, I think we have an absolute duty to be engaged, right? We're told to pursue justice in the city. We have to be out there fighting for liberty and equality for all people, for justice for all. Christians have the best reasons for being concerned about everyone in society, from the poor, the weak, the dispossessed, to the most well-off among them. So, yeah, we have to be involved in politics, and we should do so in a thoughtful, Christ-like manner. It will look nothing like the attack on the U.S. Capitol building, and I think precious few of those people were motivated by anything like Christian nationalism.
Absolutely. Dr. Hall, thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you on October the 12th.
That'll be great. Thank you.